Hello, my name is Judy. I'm making this video so I can warn all black people, especially black men, about what's been happening in America, and they need to be very careful. Well, evidently in Alabama, the Dothan Police Department has a narcotics squad, and this narcotics squad is comprised of 12 officers who are neo-Confederate white supremacists, and they don't hide the fact that they're white supremacists. They have said that black people have lower IQs and that all black people need to go back to Africa. And they said that the civil rights movement was a Jewish conspiracy. They're fucking psychos, okay? These racist white supremacists were in the narcotics squad, and during a 20-year period starting from 1990s on to the present day, they have systematically targeted black men and planted drugs and guns on them for the last 20 years. That's so fucking outrageous. At least 1,000 black men were sent to jail because they were planted with drugs and guns. At least 1,000. The numbers are probably more in the thousands and thousands because this is over a 20-year span. And these are by the narcotics squad planting drugs and guns on innocent black men because they're white supremacists and they're racist and they want black people in jail. So you have thousands and thousands of innocent black men in prison, treated like criminals, and they're not criminals, and their lives have been taken away because they spent years in jail. How can you pay back somebody for taking years of their lives away? The only way is that every innocent black man that was planted with drugs and guns, they all need to receive at least a $20 million restitution. I'm sorry, this is going to cost Alabama billions of dollars, but that's too bad. You have corrupt cops that do illegal things, plant drugs and guns on innocent black men intentionally. They are pre-planning this by having the drugs and guns on them, so they target African American men and they planted the drugs and guns on them. And there must be thousands. They say there's 1,000. I think there's thousands and thousands. This is a 20-year span. These 12 narcotic officers even got promoted. And also, what makes this worse is the police chief, White, and Police Chief Parrish might have known about this. I think they knew about this and they covered it up. But also the district attorney, his name is Doug Velasquez. The other officers told District Attorney Doug Velasquez that the other officers planted drugs and guns on those black innocent men, and Doug Velasquez didn't care. He proceeded to prosecute them even though he knew that they were innocent. So he was complicit in it. So you have you have these 12 police officers that have for 20 years planted drugs and guns on innocent black men, sent thousands of innocent black men in jail, which is fucking outrageous. That's so outrageous, it makes me so fucking mad. I just can't believe that. I mean, you take somebody's lives away for years, and some of them are still in jail. They need to go back on every case that this narcotics squad did and release all those people from prison, and they need to seek restitution. You took years away from these black innocent men, and they need to get $20 million restitution. Each one of them needs to get that. Their lives were taken, their lives were destroyed. They were treated like criminals when they were not criminals. You took away their family, and the family missed them while they were in jail. These innocent people, these officers and the police chief and the district attorney, Doug Velasquez, they all need to be prosecuted by the FBI. They need to be prosecuted at the full extent of the law, and I believe that they should get a sentence of life in prison. All of these officers, the police chief, district attorney, need to get life in prison because that's the only appropriate punishment you should receive for sending so many black innocent men into jail. They need to get life sentences. They deserve no less than a life sentence. They should go in jail for the rest of their life for that. because they did that on purpose, because they were a racist, they're a white supremacist, neo-Confederate, and they deserve to go to jail for the rest of their life. All of them. I hope to see them all. I will not rest until I know that all those men, policemen, police chief, and the district attorney are in jail for the rest of their life, and that the FBI. Police Chief Parrish said that he wanted to do an internal investigation. Do we look stupid to you? Of course we don't want you to do an internal investigation. Every time a police department investigates their own police, they're found not guilty. So we don't trust you. You're not going to do a stupid internal investigation. It's going to be an independent investigation by the FBI department, and also it should be by the Department of Justice and the ACLU and the Civil Liberties, because this is involving thousands of innocent black men. They need to go back in all the cases of this narcotics squad and release all the prisoners that they arrested under this narcotics squad, because you don't know who was innocent. And actually, most of them were innocent. And even if they release some that were not planted on them, it doesn't matter. We have to assume they were innocent and release every one of those people that they put in jail over the last 20 years, and go back and those people that got out of jail, that was in jail over the last 20, and they need to get the restitution, because they need to get 10-20 million at the minimum for the lives and years that was taken away from them. And also, this stupid district attorney Doug Valeskas, I tried to contact him. I did contact him and tell him that I thought he was a despicable human being. What he did was evil and horrendous, and he needs to pay for this. Evidently, he is trying to go up for election to be a senator. The audacity of him. No, he cannot be a senator. But we will make sure that you go to jail. That's where you're going. You're not going anywhere near Washington. You're not getting elected. You're the most corrupt district attorney ever. You prosecuted black men that you knew that were innocent, because other officers told you that they were innocent, that the narcotics squad planted drugs on them, but you proceeded to prosecute them. So you are guilty. You are very guilty, just as guilty as the white cops who planted the drugs and the guns on those innocent black men. And not only were the civil rights violated, they were treated like criminals, and these were innocent men. They missed time with their family. They might have even had children. That's just fucking evil. Really evil. And they did this on purpose because they are a neo-Confederate white supremacist thing. They have pictures of them holding a Confederate flag, and they've not held back, and they've been very open about saying black people have lower IQs, black people need to all go back to Africa, civil rights movement was a Jewish conspiracy. You tell how fucked up in the head they are. And they need to all of them, the police chief, the police, that squad, those 12 officers, the police chief, and the district attorney, all need to go to jail for the rest of their life for this. This is just fucking horrendous. This is a tragedy. Thousands of lives have been destroyed. They destroyed lives. And you can't take that back. The only way we can just minimize it is just give them $20 million so they can live the rest of their life in a good manner, and live the rest of their life being set financially. They deserve that. They deserve to get $20 million each. Of those black innocent men should get $20 million to set them up for life, because that's what they deserve. They went to jail for nothing. They're not criminals. They have to remove the record, the felony record that's on there. This is really fucked up. The Alabama police officers are fucked up, the police chief is fucked up, and the district attorney is fucked up. Okay, all these fucked up people need to all go to jail for the rest of their life. And to make matters worse, this isn't even happening in Alabama. In Baltimore, these stupid Baltimore police officers accidentally film themselves planting drugs. What happens is, on the body cam, it comes on 30 seconds before you push the on button, and they all accidentally they would go in, plant the drugs, and didn't know that their camcorder was on, and then they go out, and then they turn on the camcorder and say, well, I'm going to go here and investigate. Oh, look, wow, I found a pound of cocaine. Cheeks. And then he didn't know that 30 seconds earlier he filmed himself putting the cocaine in there. It's so pervasive. You don't know who to trust. This Alabama people did it for 20 years without getting noticed. I'm sorry. I have more information. Where is it? Apologize for my coughing. Shoot, I have information. I'm sorry. The Baltimore officers filmed themselves planting evidence. 6 officers planted heroin and cocaine. They have a video of this black man in his 40s or something pulled over, and there's 6 officers there. And you see part of the video that the other cop, Asian cop, is holding a little plastic thing. And you can tell it's a package of like white powder or something. He goes behind the black man, and then he drops it on the floor, and then he picks up the black man's wallet and puts the heroin or cocaine inside of it. He didn't know he filmed himself because the black man's lawyer, watched it and saw that he was set up. And that's why he got to be innocent, because they caught the cop on tape, and that was in Los Angeles. So you can't trust cops in Los Angeles. You can't trust them in Alabama. I believe you can't trust them anywhere in America. So I'm warning all African American people, if you get stopped, try to record what's happening and keep your eyes on the police, or try to have somebody else record this to protect yourself from cops planting drugs or guns on you. You really need to record yourself. Please record yourself. I want you to protect yourself. I don't want you to get in jail because somebody planted drugs and guns on you. In Baltimore, 34 Baltimore cases were dismissed after videos appeared showing officers planting drugs. That's fucking horrendous. Baltimore, 34 cases dismissed because they have officers on tape planting drugs. 123 cases are under review after body cam footage showed officers planting drugs in 123 other cases. This is so fucking fucked up. This is fucking outrageous. It is outrageous. These Baltimore cops, and people wonder why black people riot, why we have a Black Lives Matter. I understood Black Lives Matter, and I've always supported them because I knew that white officers disproportionately targeted black people. I knew this because I've saw this in my own life, because in my family, I have black family members, and I saw them getting harassed just because they were black. My stepfather would get stopped several times. He's black. Was stopped several times, not for a ticket or speeding or anything, just to ask him, where are you going? What are you doing? I'm like, what? Why are you stopping us? He was driving a Mercedes. So if you're a black man driving a nice car, you're more than likely to get stopped for something. So it's called it's called driving while black. Be really careful for yourself. And remember, videotape yourself or have somebody else videotape you, because you got to watch your back. You don't know what these police officers are going to plant on you. Be very careful. Also, please, black people, listen very carefully. Every black person that was killed last year, there was 1,200 homicides last year. There was 1,200 civilian fatalities last year by police officers, and in all those cases, those people were shot because they could not see their hands. The police officer said he felt an imminent danger. Yeah, sure, imminent danger. Somebody's 30 feet away from you, you're in imminent danger. They were shot because they felt they were imminent dangers because they couldn't see their hands. African American people, please make sure you show your hands. Do not reach for your pocket or anything. If they ask you for your ID, tell them to take it out of your pocket, but don't move your hands from their eyesight, because they will fucking shoot you. They're fucked up in the head, okay? They see a black man, they don't see his hands. A black person, they don't see your hands, they're gonna shoot you. That's just a fact of life. I just want to tell you the truth. Please be careful. Show your hands at all times. Do not reach for anything. Just show your hands. If they ask you for something, tell them to get it. Make sure to also videotape or have somebody else videotape you to keep yourself safe and protected. Also, Chicago cops. In Chicago, there's a mass exoneration of black men. There's been 26 convictions in Chicago that have been overturned because police officer Watts and his team planted drugs on at least 35 men that they know of. That's what they know of. That's a lot more. We just found out about this. 15 men filed petitions. The cop terrorized. Also in Chicago, there's a black complex where evidently the Chicago cops have been harassing and terrorizing this black complex, just terrorizing and harassing people. And why? Because we have racist cops. The cops in Alabama, they were white supremacists, they were racist, they wanted all black people in jail, so that's why they did that. They planted the drugs and the guns. The police officers in LA, they're racist. That's the only reason. Only black people get planted drugs and guns. So I really, really worry for the black community. I don't want you guys to be in trouble. Make sure you videotape yourself. Have somebody else videotape you, and especially keep the video on the cops so they're not planting some bullshit drugs and guns on you. Gotta be really careful. Yeah, so Alabama, I mean, that's a huge thing. I think Congress needs to come up with a watchdog for cops. Anytime a cop, kills or injures a civilian, that needs to be automatically entered into an investigation, because we need to know why. Was excessive force used? Was the death ruled did they need to kill the person that they killed? There was a black man I saw in a video. He was 30 feet away. He did have a knife in his hand, but he was 30 feet away. So I didn't think the cops were going to shoot him. There were several officers. He was very, very distraught and very, very upset about something. He seemed to have some kind of mental problem or something, and they told him to drop the weapon. This black guy is 30 feet away from the police. The black guy takes 2 steps forward, and they unload like 40 bullets on the black guy. I'm like, what the hell is that? The guy took 2 steps, and he's still 30 feet away from you. That looked like a firing squad to me. A totally unnecessary death of this black man who's 30 feet away, who took 2 steps forward. They were in no danger at all. The whole thing's on video, and I hope those cops get fired for that. We cannot have cops that are racist in our police department. If they are racist, they need to be fired immediately. Or if they have some anger issues, we need to fire them immediately. We can't have police officers that are out of control or racist in our police department. We have to protect the public. We have to protect the American citizens from police who are racist or have anger issues, that are not going to use excessive force on us or kill us just because they're racist. In one episode, this teenage black kid I saw on the video, the white cop stopped him, and the kid, you know, he's ditching school. I mean, no big deal. Every kid ditches school. So the black teenager talks to the white guy, and then the teenager runs away. Well, luckily somebody, another person was videotaping the whole thing. The white officer shoots him several times in the back. I'm like, what is that? What the heck did you shoot him for? Why did you shoot that black teenager in the back? To me, if you're shooting somebody from the back, you are not in imminent danger if somebody is running away from you. You don't need to shoot them. You can run after them, use a taser or whatever, but you can't shoot people in the back. Obviously, you're not in danger. If the person is running away and their back is towards you, obviously you're not in danger, and you have no reason to use your gun on them. So this white cop, I don't know what happened to him. I tried to look for that situation. Oh, I'm sorry. This is what happened to him. He called in and he said, oh, he grabbed my taser and he tried to tase me. Then you see the white cop walk up to him. Thank God it's on video. He drops the taser next to the black teenager, and he calls it in. He goes, shots fired. He grabbed my taser and tried to tase me, so I had to shoot him. It was all a lie. We have it on video. Somebody else videotaped the whole thing. The white officer didn't know. I mean, this is the kind of shit. You just can't trust cops. Even when you run away, they shoot you in the back. That's fucking ridiculous. outrageous. The training of our police officers in the United States is terrible. They treat us as the enemy. They treat us as the occupied. They don't respect life. They have no respect for our lives because they have no problem beating us up and using excessive force or shooting us in the back. So I want to continue with this for my African American brothers and sisters. Please be careful and videotape yourself. I don't know. We already know in Alabama, in Baltimore, in Chicago, in LA, they planted drugs and weapons on innocent black people. So please be careful and videotape yourself. Also, another problem we have that I want to make sure that African Americans know is called racial profiling. Racial profiling occurs every day in cities and towns across the nation when a law enforcement or private security target people of color for humiliating and often frightening detentions, interrogations, and searches without any evidence of criminal activity based on perceived race, ethnicity, or religion. Racial profiling is patently illegal, violating the U.S. Constitution core principle of equal protection under the law to all and freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures. Just importantly, racial profiling is ineffective. So when they're racially profiling black people, it doesn't help shit, okay? You're just harassing black people and terrorizing them by racially profiling and stopping them and harassing them and frisking them. Also, we don't know what you might be putting in their pockets. We don't trust police at this point since this is happening. It happened in Alabama, Chicago, LA. Obviously, this is something that's happening across America where you're planting drugs on black people. We just don't trust officers anymore. You gotta videotape everything. It alienates communities from law enforcement and hinders community policing efforts and causes the law enforcement to lose credibility and trust. The law enforcement, to me, has no credibility, and I do not trust police officers. I really don't. After all this, I don't trust them. I don't trust them with myself. I tell my children, I say, if you ever get stopped by a police officer, do everything they ask you to do. Make sure you show your hands at all time, follow their directions, just do it, get it over with, and then don't argue, just do what they say, answer their questions, make sure your hands are up, because I'm really scared. My kids have brown skin, we're Samoan. I don't want the cops, to shoot my kids, because my kids reach in their back pocket for their wallet, or my kids reach for the glove compartment for their insurance. I am really scared for my children. They're 19, my daughter's 19 and my son's 24. They drive around a lot. I don't trust cops. I don't want them to hurt my children. And I'm sure African American people, families, you don't want your teenage kids getting hurt either. So tell your teenagers, because they're black, unfortunately they're going to be disproportionately targeted by police officers, just like this teenage boy was shot in the back several times, and then the cop lied and said that he took his taser. When cop walked up there, he dropped the taser next to the black kid, and it was too bad. It was a lie. He got caught in a big lie, and actually he ended up going, I think, several years in prison for manslaughter. So when we have these kind of videos, so the other problem we have is I want to make, I'm sorry, I have too many papers here. Where's my other paper? Didn't I just read it? I'm sorry, excuse me. Okay. Well, we already did this one. I have one. Okay, anyway, I pretty much know it by heart. I lost my piece of paper. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so racial profiling. Okay, so racial profiling is stopping a person because they're black, which is most likely they're not racial profiling white people, obviously. But also, racial profiling is very common against of officers to stop black people, especially in I can't find my paper. Jeez. I'll try to remember the cities. Baltimore, Chicago had a problem with this. New York had a big problem with racial profiling. Um, Minneapolis, Missouri, to Baltimore. Uh, there were like about 20 cities that had a problem with racial profiling from their police officers, and this is absolutely unconstitutional. You can't just stop somebody and frisk them because they're black. Hello, no, absolutely unacceptable. That's horrendous and evil. You cannot stop black people just to. It's called the Terry Law, where they stop a black person, frisk them, see if there's any drugs or guns on them. This is absolutely illegal. It's not, and it's unconstitutional. It's going against their civil rights. They don't have reasonable cause to stop these people. They're just pulling over because they're black, and they're like, oh, they're black. They might have something on them, or maybe we'll plant something on them. You just don't know. You just don't. I just don't trust cops, man. After all of this planting drugs and this racial profiling, I have no trust or respect for law enforcement. Okay, there might be some good cops in there somewhere that I trust that are good, but for the majority of the part, I really do not trust cops. That we found out that a lot of them are racist and actually disproportionately target black people, so I don't trust them. The black community, really, to be careful of yourself. Please make sure that you videotape your interactions if you have it with a cop or have somebody else videotape it for you, and also please make sure to show your hands at all time, because that's the number one reason where people are killed, because they don't see their hands. Even if a person's laying on the ground and they don't see your hands, they shoot them. I've seen black people laying on the ground, but they don't see their hands. Their hands are like in front of them like that or something, and they shoot them like bang, bang, bang on the floor. I'm like, what the hell is that? There's three of you on top of him. How can he hurt you guys? So I really, really, really feel sad, and I really pray for African American people. Please be safe. Videotape yourself and show your hands. And I know that the ACLU and the NAACP and the Civil Liberties and also other civil rights movements, civil rights organizations are trying to address racial profiling. In New York, a judge, and in Chicago, a judge has already ruled that they cannot do that. The police chief cannot encourage his police officers to do stop and frisk on black people because they didn't have reasonable cause. So judges have already stepped up and said stop doing this, and they're still doing it. So these cities, there's about 20 cities that still do it. It's probably most of America they still do that, where they do the stop and frisk and harass and terrorize innocent black people just walking down the street, or driving while black in a nice car. You're gonna get stopped because they're like, oh, that black guy has a Mercedes. Like my stepfather, he was stopped only because he was just black driving through Hollywood in a Mercedes. And we're like, well, what's that? Why are you bugging us? They're like, can we search your car? And he's like, no, why? He goes, we're just going to the movies. What do you guys want? They're like, well, we want to know what you're doing, where you're going. Do you have any drugs or guns on you? He's like, no. He goes, either give me a ticket or let me go. And they finally let him go. And I'm like, this has happened several times. My husband is a white Jewish man. He's never been stopped, ever. They've never stopped him to ask him, what are you doing, where are you going? No, white people don't get stopped for that. White people don't get stopped and frisked. Only blacks, I'm sorry, and sometimes, and a lot of Latinos too. So I feel sorry for my Latino brothers and sisters. Be careful and videotape yourself also. But this is why I did the video. I just want to put a warning out to the African American community. Officers are planting drugs and guns on African American people, especially black men. Be careful. Please videotape yourself at all times. Keep your hands up at all times so they see it. I don't want you to get killed. So anyway, please be careful and take care of yourself. So I'll do another video, and it's about the police department, the U.S. Police Department is killing and injuring civilians at staggering rates. Is getting worse. So I didn't want this video to go over 30 minutes. So have peace, Be careful, videotape yourself, show your hands, and I pray for you. I don't want any more black people getting killed or being put in jail when they're innocent. So please take care of yourself, and you can watch my next video. It's going to be on why the police officers in America need to be reformed and retrained, because they're a bunch of idiots. Okay, take care.